Hey guys, welcome back. It is Veterans Day. As you can see, the date of this conversation started back October 30th. But before we start with this, and this is just more marketplace stories, I'm trying to find some of my horror story ones. But before we start with that, make sure you let your friends know about this channel sub. I know the lighting's really poor. I have my Wi-Fi light set to purple and green, so the lighting's not great. But we are giving away this Fossil Hypno, which will come in this top loader and penny sleeve once we hit 100 subs. I believe currently as we're dropping this video, we are 22 subs away from making that goal. So let your friends know, and we'll do a giveaway video for that Fossil Hypno, non-hollow though. Just gonna make sure I put that out there again. So this is one of the stories. This initiated October 30th. And so these stories and these conversations initiate, they initiate from my post that I have in regards to me buying cards. So the blue is me and the gray is the seller of these cards. So they start the conversation as, hey man, just saw your interest in buying Pokemon cards. I have a huge collection from the original, unlimited, fossil, and jungle series. Let me know what cards are you looking for, and we can do some deals. And I reply with all I'm looking for all cards. And he goes, are you interested in just the basic ones or the desirable first edition and hollow? And I usually do all. And usually, if you see me do binders, when I buy a binder, I'm buying everything at once, baby. And then they reply with, okay, I'll get some prices going for the sets, and we'll take it from there. I reply with, okay, thanks. This, of course, was a little bit of a red flag for me. I think I need to re-edit my thing that I am a bulk buyer, but I don't want to put away people who don't think they have enough cards. It doesn't mean I only buy a ton of cards at once. But in terms of pricing, what a bulk buyer essentially is I'm someone who buys you out of your inventory of stuff for a still fairly somewhat decent price, but in terms of it's not going to be the same as if you individually sold every last card over a period of months. I'm someone you send a video to of your binder or stack of cards or videos or pictures, and I give you an assessment based off what I saw. And then I ask for your price for all, and then I say, okay, that may be adjusted depending on the condition when I see them in person, and then we go from there. So when someone says to me that I'll get some pricing for the sets and we'll take it from there, I wasn't too concerned. Generally some people might set up a base set and might set up a fossil set, and they'll do a price for each set and a price for both at once, which is fine and fair. So I said, okay, thanks. And I get a reply with, hey man, are you still interested in buying Pokemon cards? So I don't know if this person was expecting me to constantly hunt them down or something, because the conversation initiated October 30th, and then it took a couple days because the next reply finally from them, even though I had to reply with okay thanks on October 30th, was, are you still interested in, and maybe just being polite, trying to verify that I'm still looking for these things. I give them the thumbs up. Is $1,500 budget? The reason why this person asked this question is because I use a random number. I use $1,500 for my ad for my I am buying cards. For the Facebook Marketplace, I just put $1,500. Just 1,500 looks nice, and it looks a lot more reasonable than a post that says 9,999. I think some people will just blow by it, so I use an actual number to achieve people's attention. No, that's just a random number. Okay, are you interested in 1990 Jungle and Fossil series? Yes, really any Wizards of the Coast Pokemon. Okay, so I have around 70 cards from those collections that I'm willing to sell. I go, okay. And he goes, I am willing to sell them both for $1,500 if you're interested. So the way I read this is, what's going in my head, he said 70 cards, and then he said $1,500. And, maybe he means 70 hollows is what's going on in my head. But I'm also, as I've dealt with other people, maybe this guy is going to send me basically junk. And so I always say I kind of need pictures or a video, in order to somewhere, see where he's coming up with this price. And he sends me these. And so he sends me, and they're in decent condition, but they're, here, let's go to the front of it. So there is a Venusaur, but if you can see it, this is just the front of it, and the front of it does not look good. That corner's beat. There's some silvering here. This corner here is also beat, like it's peeling off its original cardboard. And And then it's basically just all base set cards, and there's no Shadowless, there's no first edition. It's all just these non-hollow. That's the same page, by the way. He just backed out a little bit, and basically, and the only rares were non-hollows, and they weren't first editions. And it's only those 7, I believe, throughout this entire book. This is a repeat page. Yeah, and that was it. So let's get back to the conversation. In my opinion, the fun part. So he sends me those pictures, and I, of course, I waited for a while, and then I finally, replied with, I mean, if you have a Venusaur and or Blastoise or Charizard for this set, I'm interested, but I'm not seeing many hollows, and this is in response to the pictures he sent me. I can add a Venusaur. He wasn't even going to add that Venusaur he put in the first picture. I can add a Venusaur in there if you're interested in making a deal. This dude wanted $1,500 for basically 7 non-hollow rares and some common and uncommon cards. And I have a really hard time not running my mouth, but this is me being as pretty much polite as I can. Right now, I'm not so far. I haven't seen anything really worth anything. I sell hollows individually if you're interested in this category. And then he resends the beat up Venusaur. He wasn't going to include this Venusaur in that $1,500 purchase. Sorry, he's a little too damaged. I don't think I'm the guy you're looking for. I'm a bulk buyer. I buy binders of hollows at a time. Which hollows are you interested in? Now, this guy again is trying to conduct a deal, and all I can really do is basically repeat myself. I don't think I'm who you are looking for. I usually buy hollows at binders at a time, and if you want $1,500 for a binder, I would usually pay about $20 for one. I don't think we'll come to a deal. Sorry, the wording wasn't right here. I was basically saying for what he wanted $1,500 for, because it's not including that Venusaur, that binder of commons and uncommons and those non-hollow rares, I would probably have paid someone $20 for that. At most, maybe $30. Non-hollow rares, even in the original sets, they don't sell for anything unless you somehow had them miraculously in PSA 10. So that's the only way you make any money. And then I believe he eventually left the group. I don't know. Once again, this is determined on what y'all think. I don't think this guy was a scammer. I think this is a guy who legitimately thought his binder was worth that much. I'm kind of interested. I mean, I guess it's too late now. This conversation was back November 3rd was the last contact. I'm kind of interested in what his hollows were, but at the same time, considering what he thought was worth $1,500, not to even include that damaged Venusaur, it probably wasn't anything really worth anyone's time. And that doesn't mean to be rude, but like when you're talking to people who are into the buying and selling game, and even if they were collectors, the only value when you have super damaged cards like that, and I will say his cards were damaged, at least that Venusaur was clearly damaged. The only value that has is to someone who plays with the cards. For collectors and for buyers and sellers, you're not going to meet the mark. Collector, the only difference really between a collector and a buyer and seller is a collector who's someone who's literally trying to build up and catch them all. A buyer and seller is someone who's just looking for a maximum profit gain, which essentially is what I am. But to a collector, by catching them all, they also want them in the best condition as possible. Now, a person who plays with the cards regularly isn't going to care, but people who play with the cards regularly tend to pay the least. They're not looking for the most perfect cards, and therefore they'll walk away from deals. A buyer and seller will also walk away from deals like I did. If he had someone who was really trying to find those cards, sure. But I would say with as many base set cards, even hollows that I go through and come across and see and get advertised to, I would say, which is really surprising, I would say that base set and base set 2 really aren't that rare, not to hurt the value of them, which they're definitely just had a little dip recently because Charizards went down for about $1,000 each. Um, uh, yeah, this is just one of those stories. This one wasn't a horror story. I really want to try and find a horror story for y'all, or one that's definitely. I want to try and give you the interesting stories. I wish I would have been doing this earlier because I had some crazy stories when I first started this. Definitely weeded out a lot of the I don't know, stammer slash psychos. But hey, this was my story, and let's have a vote whether y'all think this guy was a scammer or he legitimately thought his cards were worth it. Let me know in the comments. Thanks. Bye.